What's up, guys? So today we're going to be solving 944 delete columns to make sorted. So you're given an array of n strings, strs. All of them are the same length. The strings can be arranged such that there is one on each line, making a grid. So to make things short, basically they're going to give you a list of strings and you can arrange them in this order. And the point is to go column by column, making sure that everyone is sorted. If one isn't sorted, then we go ahead and return it at the end. So, I mean, the whole point is just to give the number of unsorted columns. We have to find the number of unsorted columns. So this question is on the easier side of things. Basically, all you have to do is be able to handle string manipulations. So like they're gonna give you a list of strings. So first of all, let's approach this problem. So we have to go column by column to make sure that everything is sorted. So for example, here we have to make sure that A, B, C is sorted. So really essentially the whole solution is being able to handle for loops and being able to index correctly. So after figuring out how to go column by column, we have to then figure out how to determine if these individual strings are sorted. So since they're not in the same string, you can't just do dot sort and then compare it to what it is right now. You could go ahead and make a temp variable and just keep appending to it, right? Building a new string of just the column, and then you go ahead and you could just sort that temporary string and then compare it to itself to see if it's sorted or not. Your solution would work, but it isn't completely efficient. The more efficient approach would be to just directly compare each letter to the letter before it. So for example, let's say we are on B right now, right? We just simply have to check, well, is B greater than A? And then we say yes, it is. So then we move on to C. Is C greater than B? It is. And that's the final letter. So we go ahead and we pass this one. But what about a case where we don't pass it? So for example, this middle one, again, starting off from the second one, we check, is C greater than B? It is. So we pass it. But is A greater than C? No, it isn't. So this is when we're going to go ahead and increment our global count variable because it couldn't pass, right? So it is at this point, immediately after we figure out that it didn't pass because there's one unsorted letter, we break out of our logic and we just increment our global count variable. So looking at the solution right now, we have our n and m variables, which just represent the length of the grid. So n right now is representing the horizontal length, and m is representing the vertical length, right? Count is our global count variable that we need to keep track of. And here we're going to go ahead and do a for loop, looping over the horizontal values. And that's because we want to go ahead and loop through each single column. And here we're initializing temp to the first letter of the column. So assuming we are on the first column, temp would hold A. And then in our second for loop, where we're going to loop through the column, the only odd thing for this one is that we're going to start at the second value because temp is already holding the first value, so we don't have to start at the first value. And then immediately we start to compare. If our value is smaller than the temp, then we go ahead and increment our global variable right here and break out of the logic to save on time complexity. If this block doesn't get hit, then we got to update our temp variable. And then at the end, we just simply return our count. And really, it's as simple as that. It's all about really knowing how to go ahead and manage our indexing and for loops and so on and so forth. And with this solution, it's quite optimal, reaching about 70% of the best solutions out there. And we beat 100% of the people, although I don't think that's completely accurate, but still, it's good on memory complexity as well. If you found this helpful, please give a like, subscribe for more content on different lead code questions and different coding concepts.